I wasn't even supposed to go live this time. It just went live on me. I went to go edit it. I went to go edit the stream to put a description in it, and it went live on me instead of going back because it was already pre-scheduled, and then I just went to go edit it, came out, and it went live. No, I didn't mean. I thought I had already set the scheduled timer on it, and I guess I didn't, and it went live. But what up, Go Birds, Falcons, Quick, Pixar, what it do, what it do? Welcome in the room. All right, guys, we're going to listen to a couple of these interviews. I got a few of the Cowboys' new coaches coming out and doing interviews. So we're going to be listening to some of those. Hold on 1 second. Oh, yeah.
You're coming into an organization that has special teams units that's been one of the best in the league.
That was the point. All right.
Yeah, well, first it was
because interview starting up too soon. Chill time, baby. It's 8. Here, get your little tent. Sit down so we can put your tent up. Whitney, you had a tent the whole other day.
I'll make a tiny tent.
All right, you need to sit. There you go. Your bottle's behind you with your chocolate milk. All right. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I had to get kids situated there for a second. What up, Billy? What up, Noah? What up, Daniel? Shaz, what's good? What's good? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to get into it. We got Nick Sorensen for the first interview that we're going to listen to and react to what he's got to say about being a... I haven't watched it, so we'll have to just see what he has to say here. 1 second. We're not building a fort. It is 8 o'clock at night. It is almost your medicine bedtime. You need to stop. All right. What up, Lemon? What up, Birds? All right, so here we go. We're going to play this Nick Sorensen video. You guys should be able to hear the audio as well. I'm going to move the mic over here so that it should be a little more clear.
One of the best in the league.
Y'all hear the audio? What up, Wicked? What up, Messi? Gorilla, what's good?
Yeah, well, first it was because it's a first-class organization, and
can you guys hear that audio? Oh, you're satisfying, dog? All right, that's what's up. That's what's up, Go. What up, Kyle? What it do? What it do? Can y'all hear this?
I've worked with Shotty in the past, and I love him. I have a lot of respect for him.
Put a Y in the chat if y'all can hear that, so we can get on with it and start reacting to it here. Or put a no if you can't hear it.
And obviously, with the Jones have done legendary for a number of years, and then you start looking at the roster because that does matter. Like you said, those players you just mentioned, they're dynamic and they're really, really good players, top in the league. So that had a huge, it was a big part of it. Oh yeah, sorry.
You knew Joe Hoyt also.
This is Nick Sorensen.
How do you see him now as a head coach here, and is there a difference between Shotty back then and Shotty now?
No, I think he's always been like this. He's always been really smart, cared about people, had great energy. So what he's bringing is who he is. I've always felt like he'd be a great head coach, and being a part of it for his first time is exciting. And I'm no doubt he's going to do a heck of a job. So far, it's been awesome. I've been here just over a week now, and it's just who he is. He's very consistent. He cares about the players. He cares about people, everyone in the building, and really, because in the end, it's about the players, and you see that. And he wants to do things right, and he puts thought into everything he does, but with great energy and enthusiasm, which is what I think it's about.
Talking about head coach Brian Schottenheimer, how he's coming in excited. He's got plenty of enthusiasm. He's got the other coaches being fired up. So hey, hopefully that that does something. I'm excited about the coaches that we got under Brian Schottenheimer. We'll see how the players start to load up on the team, and we'll evaluate it a little more as we start getting some players. What up against? What's good? What's good?
What's that? Basically, what I was just saying. Really, this is a first-class organization, and it's about the players, and it's driven by the players, and being connected to them, and being a family, and just bringing that energy every single day, and doing everything we can to work hard and win games. Because at the end, that's really what it's about.
One thing you can always count on from most of the Cowboys PR is they're gonna always say the right things. So when you listen, you almost gotta listen for like the small nuances to get their real opinions on a lot of things. But the one thing that I've seen across the board so far is that they are all very much excited about the change that is happening because, like I've said previously, it's been since the Jimmy Johnson era since the Cowboys have had all new coaches. Every time we've brought in a new coach, otherwise, holdover coaches that the Cowboys were like, "You're our head coach, but you're going to work with him." Now they've let Brian Schottenheimer kind of pick and go through who he wants to bring in as coaches, and we've got a couple on the team on the roster of coaches that were head coaches. Didn't do so great as head coaches, but they were always good when they were a position coach. And now they're going back to what they're good at, like Matt Eberflus, back to the defense, where he likes to specialize in the D line and the linebackers. And he's excited to get to work with these guys. We got an interview from Matt Eberflus as well. But we'll get back into the Sorensen one. It's about an 8-minute video here with Sorensen.
I think everyone kind of tweaks
up,
it
Elliot?
a little bit.
What it do, what it do?
You probably see it, as far as that energy with how it was with Pete and in Seattle in that sense. But as far as pouring in the players, that's really what it's about. And I think him stressing that over and over every single day, it's the players win the games. So we got to create that connection. No matter how much it changes each year, you got to dig into those guys. And it's really good that he continues to remind us here every day and being connected with them, because a lot of us are new and we got to learn these guys. Been grinding on the tape, watching them, but staying in touch with them and talking to them as much as possible. That's everything. Getting to know who they are.
Pull up some draft prospects as well to get into talking about a little bit.
Transitioning from defense and special teams and the challenges, because it seems like there's a lot more moving parts.
Yeah, that's one thing that they are talking about with him is that he's transitioned multiple times in the league. Nick Sorensen from defensive coordinator to what do you want? What? Use your words. What? This? What are you looking for? This? Which one? This? Cookies? Alright, hold on one second. Get the baby some cookies here. Bro, you got 34 subs. That's dope, Glow. Or Gore. There you go. You got some cookies. Alright. But yeah, he's transitioned in the NFL multiple times from defensive coordinator to special teams coordinator, and now he's back. He's over here with the Cowboys as a special teams coordinator. He's talking about that
now. He's got to step in as a starter.
Oh, moving parts as far as personnel. Yeah, that's the fun challenge of it. I think in the end, it's all football, and I think that's the fun part. I think the challenge is not just the personnel, but it's also, I think you got to find ways to make it make sense to the player, to where it can kind of translate to them, because a lot of these guys don't play a lot of teams or haven't in their past, maybe early in their college career, but most of the guys were studs and didn't really play it a whole lot. So it's one, you got to make them understand the
Philly,
importance
Matt?
of it. And I think, Jerry Jones, and
All right,
talking
bro.
with him,
Appreciate you.
he truly understands the importance of special teams, and talks about his past when he played at Arkansas and how good they were, and he understands that, and Shotty totally understands that and supports it. And I think, over the years, these guys have been really, really good, and just talking to the core players who've played here, they understand it, and that's number one. And then two, how can you equate that to what they have to actually do?
That's good. One thing I'm going to expect a little bit in the beginning of the season and throughout training camp with these coaches, because a lot of these coaches haven't coached together before. So a lot of these coaches are going to be getting to feel each other out a little bit, pause, and learn how, like, Brian Schottenheimer wants things done, and being able to fit their scheme and make their scheme all mesh and work together as one cohesive unit. Um, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, and it could have setbacks. It's going to be good and bad though. So because where there's bad, as in it could delay the continuity of the team getting together and playing good, is it also is bringing in other perspectives to look at things. We're not getting one Mike McCarthy perspective and being like, this is how it's got to be done. You got to do it this. No, being open-minded going into this, listening to the other coaches' perspectives so that the team can help grow. Because I think that is part of a problem where I think that McCarthy was hindering the growth of the team in that manner, as he was stuck in his ways and how he wanted to do things. And like I said, many times Brian Schottenheimer wanted to implement new things into our offense, and Mike McCarthy wouldn't let him do it. So what he would do is he would go run, talk to the defense, and then he got real familiar with the defensive players and the mindset of how to prepare for the people that they're going up against, because he's been studying these offenses. So he's going to give a lot of the keys to the defensive players to help them succeed. What up, Jeff Lee? What up, Lala? What's good? What's good? Welcome, welcome. I said your name. Don't spam. Don't spam. You'll get blocked real quick. All right, we're gonna get back into the video. Layla,
Doing the game,
my bad. I'm a
and
name
be able to
butcher. It's not
transfer
on
that to
purpose.
making
I'm
plays,
just
whether it's
half
blocking or
dyslexic.
tackling or just making those plays. And even with the kickoff rule change, guys had to adjust, and that's been fun digging into that too.
Scotty Dixon with the Associated Press. What can you take from the experience last year with the Niners?
I just learned a lot. Learned a lot, good, bad, on to the next, and just excited to be here, really.
And it's kind of a
Appreciate
unique
you,
combination
Elliot.
going from that to this.
I
How do you
quit.
look at that, and are there ways you can sort of contribute with the staff just based on your own background with defense and stuff?
I mean, it's evaluating players and stuff like that. But I mean, for me, it's just full focus on special teams right now. And however they ask me to do anything else, I will. But for me, it's really just getting back together with Carlos Polk, who was my assistant in Jacksonville. So it's awesome to have a familiar face, and we've done this.
So he's bringing Carlos Polk to be his assistant special teams coordinator. That's cool. That's cool. Good to hear.
For together, and he's
That's
a heck
little
of a coach.
continuity there.
Just really been digging into the special team side of stuff.
You didn't pay as much attention to the kickoff rule probably last year coaching defense, but overall your impression of it and how it can be refined going into the second year.
I think you kind of saw the progression of learning with the coaches throughout the season. Just watching a bunch of teams, and obviously watching us first, and then seeing different teams and how they attacked it on both sides of it. It's interesting. We'll see what happens if anything changes this year. If they tweak anything, we'll be ready for it. And it's just been fun to kind of dig into it and how close they are with point of contact. It kind of changed for little guys, not having that space to just run and weave and get those guys on their heels early. It's you're on each other pretty quickly.
I can tell you one thing that I'm excited for the Cowboys, and it's nothing major. Is I'm excited to have a healthy team this year. Granted, we're still going to be missing Diggs. We're still going to be missing Overshawn for the start of the season and some of the middle of the season. What up, Alec? What to do? What to do? Do you think the Cowboys will rebuild if they don't have success season? Alec, I think they're in a process of a rebuild right now. Honestly, there's no way it's not going to have it's not going to have a rebuild feel with the amount of pieces that we actually need, and with all the coaches being new. this pretty much is a rebuild in a sense, Alec. So I mean, I don't know how much more. I mean, I don't think any rebuild has ever been completely gutting it down to the bones. With the amount of free agents we have this year, all the new coaches, all the new pieces we're going to have to bring in, there's only a few key pieces on each level of the team, special teams, uh, offense, defense, that's going to actually be holdovers that are actually going to be the main core. Uh, so there's a bunch of pieces that we're going to have to keep that are our own. Like I'm really hoping that we keep Jordan Lewis. I just feel like he's got that dog in him that he's going to come out there and fight. Every year they've tried to replace Jordan Lewis with another cornerback, and he beats them out every year. What are y'all talking about? No Diddy and Diddy. Well, what are y'all talking about with that? But all right, we're going to get back in this.
Is that something that's already been talked about within the scouting department or personnel in terms of, kind of some bigger bodies since it is, less?
I think that's more the roster and stuff like that. It really didn't change a whole lot. It's just little things here and there.
When you're starting to interview for this job, are you going, got one of the best kickers in the game, like, get the job?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And returner and I mean,
Yeah, Alec, I agree with that, and we need to be buyers in the free agency. We're gonna need to be. We're gonna definitely need to be buyers in this free agency because as we can probably get a good wide receiver or a good running back, it may not be likely to get them both in the draft. So we may have to look into free agency to bring in a good number two to pair with CeeDee Lamb.
loaded. Like we said at the beginning, it's what a group of guys here that have really done it at a high level for a number of years. So it was a big
I don't know what kind of gang you're in.
bonus.
Because of his rank,
Yes.
because of his range, does it make it a little easier to say, hey, coach, you only go for it because of what we got on the sideline?
Yeah, you get before the game and during the game, you're talking where are we at on your yard, where do we need to be with this ball with the offense, and I think it changes a lot. He's a huge weapon, obviously.
From a coaching staff standpoint, Schottenheimer.
Shout out Patrick No-C Walker.
Looks like it struck balance between experienced NFL minds and some guys who were first-time NFL coaches who bring in some new, fresh ideas from the team.
Asking the question, how do you think it's going to feel because we're bringing some new coaches from college up with some coaches that have been some good NFL minds? How is the mesh going to be? That's kind of what Patrick No-C Walker just asked. Let's hear his answer.
Today's college game. Let's talk about the importance of having such a balance.
Yeah, I think the balance here is really cool, and just getting to know the guys. I guess.
From all the talks and the conversations that I've heard so far, William, I feel like they are going to be. Now, I don't feel like they're going to go as far as maybe Philly has gone in the last few years, but they're almost not going to have a choice if they want to be competitive. They're going to have to be buyers. The draft is something they're generally fairly decent at. We've had a couple drafts recently though that have been kind of wish-washy a little bit. Like we don't know about Tyler Guyton. Mozzie Smith isn't nobody's favorite, but I will say, from what I have heard of the Matt Eberflus interview, he is excited to work with Mozzie Smith. So I don't know if that's good or bad or what that means, but I did hear that much. Well, we'll get into that full interview though here in just a moment.
Said he wants us all to get to know each other along with the players and really everyone in the building.
Yeah, Messi, Noah. All right, so anybody that's in here, Noah won't be. I mean, Nemo won't be in the chat here for a couple of weeks. He's got some family matters that he's going to be dealing with. I don't know how much further into it I'm going to get. When he gets back, I'll let him explain his story. But yes, he did message me. He did say that he's going to be absent for a couple of weeks. He's not going to be able to be here because he's got some things that he's dealing with. So if anybody is looking for Nemo, it's going to be Where is Nemo for a couple of weeks. So just a heads up on that. But what's good? Noah to go. What's good, everybody? welcome everybody in. Appreciate y'all.
That deals with the players, but the staff is exciting. I mean, the guys are excited. We're all fired up to be here. Like I said, Dallas Cowboys. It's the first
Fired up to be here. How about them Cowboys?
Mixture of guys that have done it a long time, guys that are new, guys from college. I think that's awesome. You need to have that balance. It's really cool.
Brandon Aubrey's obviously been fantastic, but he's credited a lot of the long snapping and the holding to that effect in the field goal. Two of those guys are free agents. How important are you going to look at the battery of kind of keeping that consistency potentially?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline. He said a couple of weeks, Messi. So I'm not 100% sure on the timeline. I'm sure he'll probably keep me updated. But yeah, I don't know if he'll be. I don't know when the UFL season actually starts. If you do, go ahead and post that in the chat for me so that we can start looking into doing some streams for that. I don't know that I'm going to stream every UFL game, but I will definitely try to get into some of them UFL games because to me that's just like scouting players as well because those players can get pulled from there if they're playing outperforming the league. The NFL can poach them. So what up, Patrick? Michael B was good. Was good. I don't know. You might have to ask yourself that question, brother.
Trent and Brian have done a great job, worked their butts off. I haven't found anyone who says anything bad about them. They've really, really got a lot of respect for those guys, and it is a business, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'd love to have them back, and hopefully we can.
On the kickoffs, if you were in charge, what tweaks would you recommend, if any?
I'm not in charge, so I don't have to think like that. Thank God. I'm good.
All right, so he is the special. That's kind of strange to me. I'd like to learn more about that because he's the special teams coach, but he's not in charge of the kickoffs. Because he was asked, "What about the kickoffs and punts? Would you change your alter?" And he said, if you're in charge of that, he said, well, I'm not in charge of that, so." All right, Messi. Yeah, I'll check the Discord for that.
If we do what they tell us to do, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, same thing, Messi. Same thing with Brandon Aubrey. He came from UFL. Well, he didn't come directly from UFL, but he was playing in the UFL. And same thing with Cavante Turpin. Cavante Turpin was the MVP as a wide receiver in the UFL. All right, good night. Love you. I mean, you were sleeping anyways.
What's that? Whatever shot he wants. You always look at it though. You always got to be prepared. I always think you have to. That's probably the first thing I look at is any opportunities each week, and then if it's there and there's validity to it, and you can make it make sense, and it just depends on the situation. It's obviously you got to be ready for it with selecting that and presenting it to Shotty, and then we talk through it throughout the week. And if
what up, PJ? What it do? What it do? Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Makes sense. It's all about winning. So how can this help us win? Really.
How unique of a weapon is Cavante Turpin? I know he's going to be free agent, but a couple all pros.
Cavante Turpin!
Yeah, he's a scary guy to go against. I mean, I remember even going against him these last couple of years. It was talked about in the team meetings.
Yeah, they made sure not to kick the ball to Cavante Turpin.
You just even being a part of the defense, everyone knows that he's a threat, and then he does that same. Because it strikes that same fear in offense too. But as far as the kicking game, he's a threat, big time.
All right, so that concludes the Nick Sorensen interview. All right, let me get this other interview up. My next interview that I'm gonna listen in ears in is going to be the Clayton Adams interview, and then after that we will do the Matt Eberflus interview, and we'll continue to get into this. Then we'll probably start looking into some of these 2025 NFL Big Draft Board, the PPF's top 20 or top 200 prospects. No, I don't think we're going to get through all 200 of these prospects, but we will get through as many of the top prospects as we can. What up, Hubert? What's good, brother? All right, I'm going to get this interview up here real quick, and we'll get it fired up. I hear you, bro. Who is it? What's the guy's name, or do you remember his name? All right, why aren't you watching your video? You know, you need your tent back. You going to bed?
No, just watching my TV.
All right, well, good night. Love you. Man, I cannot wait to update this computer because it is aggravating to go through. Ooh, I'm surprised. They've changed this top 200 list so far. But we'll get into it here in a second. Quick refresh. Video should be starting in a minute.
Especially this first time.
Here we go.
I didn't know who you are and what platform.
Clayton Adams.
Thank you. I appreciate
All
that.
right, so he's Clayton Adams. He was the
Clayton Patrick
offensive
Walker, Dallas
coordinator,
Cowboys.
or
Nice
he
to meet
was
you.
the,
You just talked about your decision to come join the Cowboys.
All right, so this is Clayton Adams. He was the O-line coach for the the Arizona Cardinals. They did a lot. He changed the O-line around a good bit. Being a part of it, made that O-line a lot better over the last few years than they were previously. Because before they were trash. When he came in, he's kind of changed it. And what they did really well were some of the pin and pull, where they would pull their offensive guard and tackle from one side and leave those defenders open and come around and actually run and get ahead and block for the runners. It's part of the run game that I'm hoping we implement some into the Cowboys. It'll be very nice if we do so. Let's listen to his interview. This is the first time I've heard him talk. What up, Dijon? What's good? What's good, brother?
That you can use to kind of benefit your time here.
Sure. Obviously, you know, for myself and being a background of an offensive line coach, the opportunity to be a coordinator to sit in the chair was important to me and had been a goal. That's something that I wanted to do at some point. Obviously, I think being able to do it with the Dallas Cowboys
What up,
is a
Carnage?
huge, even bigger opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, great franchise. Speaking on, you know, kind of
I
what
hear
I've
you,
learned in my
Dijon.
time in Arizona,
I hear you,
we
brother.
really had a great
Well, I
experience
appreciate
there.
you tapping in.
And
Make sure you hit
the
that like button,
organization
too.
was outstanding to me and my family, the head coach, the players. I mean, well, I didn't get to be there when they got the thing completely turned, but I was excited about the direction that we were going, and I know that those guys will do a good job there.
Joe Hoyt also.
Yeah, Nemo's
Dallas
got
and,
some stuff he's
Arizona,
dealing
James
with.
Conner and some linemen coming back.
Family
There's a lot
matters.
of questions about
I'm
the
sure
running-
he'll explain it
there's
when
a
he
lot of
gets back.
holiness. You know, we got a
So
couple
he'll
guys
be
coming back.
absent for a
Just
couple of
look at it as
weeks.
an opportunity in the
We'll
running
have
game to
Didi
find
and them
guys who
asking,
fit
"Where's
what you're
Nemo?"
looking for.
You know, I don't know that we've completely gotten that far yet. We're working hard to evaluate what we have here, and I think that there's a lot of nice pieces to work with, and we'll continue to go down that road as we work through player acquisition, and then obviously when we get our opportunity to get our hands on these guys and coach them a little bit. But
What's good, Raymond? What it do? What it do? Welcome in. Welcome in.
probably a little bit too early to know that.
Carnage.
With ESPN. What's your background with Brian Schottenheimer? And that now, or is it kind of just learning what he wants, how it meshes with what you've done in the past? Where are you guys in that process, scheme wise?
How
That's exactly where we're at. Is just trying to mesh what the vision of what he wants is, because he's going to call the plays, and so I think it would be dumb on my part to try to force a lot of things on that call sheet.
Yeah, so what he's talking about here is he's talking about how these coaches don't have a lot of chemistry as they know each other. They have not coached with each other. So it's going to be trying to figure out what works for the system that they are trying to create here in Dallas. The main thing I'm hearing them preach, though, a lot coming out of the Star is culture and effort. So that's going to be a big emphasis on the Cowboys season this year is going to be culture and effort. Now, culture is something the Cowboys have lacked for a while. I know my hair is wild tonight. But yeah, the Cowboys have been lacking to having a good culture to where these players are playing for each other and fighting hard and showing good effort. And they're talking about making it an emphasis this year. So let's hopefully that sticks and we can start to build something nice. Like I've said previously, I don't think this year is going to be like we're going to be going far in the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not giving my season prediction yet, but I do feel like this season is going to be more competitive than last year, and what we see may give us hope for the following seasons. I'm thinking that we're going to be better than we were last season because last season we were doo doo. But what we're going to see this season is something that we're going to be able to build on, and then we'll be able to grow and be better the following seasons. So, what I'm looking for is this season to give hope for 2026 to be more competitive than we were this year, and then going forward to be the same way. America is in Texas.
That he doesn't want to call or he doesn't feel comfortable calling. So I have not had a major background with him. I had talked football with him in the past. I had known him a little bit, but we're really excited. I'm very excited to work with him and just.
It's another thing we're hearing a lot that they're very excited. Hopefully that turns into something. Hopefully very excited means that the players are going to also be very excited and they're going to want to show effort and build this culture along with them. I know some of them already are talking about it, but we'll get into that more as the offseason comes along.
To continue to learn each other a little bit, and I think that always going to be a process of we're all molded a little bit by our experiences, and so it's going to be.
Texas was on its own for a while. Texas was its own before it was part of one of the. Now I can't remember the full American history on all this, but when America was growing, it was purchased then. Still dumb to leave America. What up, BMW? What it do? What it do? Mercedes G36S.
We're going to get out into some practices and talk through some things, and I'm going to see some things differently. He's going to see some things differently, and it's going to be a growing process. You get into games and you have to have those same type of experiences, both good and negative.
Clarence, go.
I think he literally just said what I was speaking about previously, where this is going to be a growing process of these coaches figuring out what works and doesn't work for them learning to gel with each other and come up with good game plans for the team to move forward with. It's going to have good and bad effects. There will be growing pains. But in the end, I feel like it's all going to be worth it because change is really what the Cowboys needed. And it seems like they're getting it. It definitely seems like they're getting it, the change that they need. But right now, these are all just words. So this is the I think season. When we're in the I think season, so everything right now is all suspect. Um, we'll have to see it come to fruition, and then we'll get to see for real.
Wall City DLS. Can you talk about your relationship with Riley and being with it, offensive coach? How much will you be a part of the offensive line, or will you stay away from that?
I definitely won't stay away from that. I think that it's a little bit to be determined exactly how all those things work, because I think we need to get out and coach these guys a little bit, and we need to get past the point where we're just all trying to speak the same language, which is kind of where we're at right now. In regards to my involvement with the offensive line, is I want to have a great
What up,
relationship
Steven?
with all
What it
these
do?
guys, and I really want to build genuine relationships so that they know that.
If I had the choice to pick one of those two, Myles Garrett, hands down. I wouldn't mind Stephon Diggs either, but I do know that he's coming off an injury. But now, if I'm gonna say what I think the Cowboys would do in that situation, from the history that I know of Cowboys, Stephon Diggs is coming off of an injury. Cowboys are big on picking up players that are coming off of injury because they can get them cheap, or players that are on their last leg of their career. That's something that the Cowboys are like known for doing. That's where we get the bottom of the barrel players. But if I had the choice to pick, Myles Garrett definitely is going to have way more of an impact, in my opinion, than Stephon Diggs. But I do like Diggs. No knock on Diggs. Just Garrett's different.
I'm here to help them play the best football of their careers, and that they know that we're going to have a very clear and communicated standard for what we expect from them. For me, that's going to start in the offensive line room, and I'm very excited about developing a relationship with those guys. But also, like I said,
He says, "Yes, I am the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, but I'm previously an O-line coach, so I'm going to be involved in the O-line conversations. I will be in the O-line room with my input, putting my pen and paper on down and letting people know that this is how it should be. This is what we should get. This is how we should do it. This is what needs to be done for this to work," and so on and so forth. But we're going to continue.
I need to have that same relationship with Dak. I need to have that same relationship with CD. So my time's going to be spread a little bit more in that way, but it's going to start in the offensive line. Yeah, and Connor is. I've actually known him a long time. He and I have never worked together. We've talked football many times. Spent for guys that have never worked together, probably a fair amount of time together. And then I always think this is, you can assess offensive lines or any position group really when you're evaluating what you think that a coach does, but nothing speaks like the tape. And one thing that I've always respected about Riley over the years of just evaluating his players coming out in the draft and even just evaluating his scheme when I was coaching in college, the players play good. And he's had good players too. That's your responsibility as a position coach is what's on the tape. Are they doing it right? Are they playing violent? Are they finishing? Those are the things that you look for.
Watkins, Dallas morning news. How much you get a chance to talk to
8:35.
Yeah, I mean, I've reached out to them for sure. Obviously, they're in a situation, right now where they're not allowed to be around the building and doing football things. But every opportunity that I have, I do, and I've
Very possibly. And
really
I know he
excited
wants
about,
to
the
return to the
experience to be able to
817.
get to know those guys a little bit, and it's going to be even more awesome looking forward.
Hey, Clayton. It should have been right there on the counter.
Do you feel like it's something where you can kind of grow into this? Is play calling something you'd like to do down the road?
I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective before. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to feel like down the road or any of those things to answer your question, but I am excited about the opportunity and the fit for what I think that this job is going to be, which, really is trying to figure out, at the end of the day, our job when we're putting things on the call sheet is to be problem solvers.
I mean, Aiden Hutchinson is different. Yes. I don't know that he's quite Myles Garrett different yet. And he was having a phenomenal season. Now, I will say that with the amount of sacks that he had a majority of those sacks in one game. And then he had a couple games with no sacks, and then he had a couple games with one sack. But yes, he was on a high projection with the rate of sacks he was getting last year up until he faced the Cowboys and broke his leg against his own player. But yes.
We're trying to figure out what do we do good and how do we make that look multiple? How do we make that look different? And so
This ain't Eminem and we ain't 8 Mile. Ain't nobody from the 313 throwing their hands up inside of this chat except for Messi.
that's the part that I'm really looking forward to focusing on. And I think it's also it's a leadership position within a great organization. So that's the part.
But that's what I'm saying. How many sacks did he have? He had, 6 or 7? And 3 or 4 of them were in one game. And then he had a game. So in 4 games, he had a game with multiple sacks. Then he had 2 games with 1 sack. And then he had a game with no sacks. So yes, there were games that he did have without sacks within that 4-game range. But yes, he got hurt. Like I said, and I also stated that he was on a high projection to get a lot of sacks. But that's slightly skewed because of the fact that one of those games was a 3 or 4 sack game. Yeah, one against Dak. Yes, Dak has a poor O line. They couldn't block for him.
Forward to the most, and that the answer your question about down the road, I don't know yet.
Hey, Josh Tolentino, Lone Star Live. Jonathan Gannon was, formerly a first-time coordinator. He used that experience to, first-time head coach. What takeaways do you have from your time?
I am someone that I will give Aiden Hutchinson his flowers, and I will also produce the facts that were around as well. Because everything I intend is I always give my opinions based on the eyeball test of the football game. So if someone shows up and plays out, I'm gonna commend them. If I see someone, even if it's that same player, not showing up or showing out in the next game, I'm gonna be critical of them. So I mean, it's gonna be fair at the end of the day because I'm gonna try to be as down the middle with it as I can. Obviously, I'm gonna have some bias and some homer on certain players that I have more of a liking to than other players, but that's just the way it goes.
It was really, it's a good question. It is really the first time that I had worked for somebody that I was close friends with before. We were assistant coaches together in Indianapolis. And so we had a prior relationship that really transcended just being coworkers or in that situation, boss and employee. I think that, one of the things that Jonathan does as good as anybody else is set the tone for the environment of serving the players. And I was very impressed with the way that he did that, of just ensuring that everything that we do is going to be about helping these guys play good.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. You coach Kyler Murray in Arizona. Now you have Dak Prescott at a different stage of his career. What are your thoughts on going from the two different types of quarterbacks?
Yeah, one thing I can definitely expect from Dak this season is he is probably not going to run the ball at all. He's probably going to become strictly a pocket passer. The whole fan base, we wanted him to run the ball more last year, me included. I wanted a lot more running from Dak Prescott of the ball. And then he goes and gets himself hurt. It was tragic. So I have a feeling that he's going to shy away from a lot of the running and leave that up to a lot of the running backs, tight ends, wide receivers.
Just your impressions of Dak Prescott, the player.
I think that it'd probably be hard for me to answer that question until you have a larger sample size to pull from. What I know about Dak, just in the short experience that I have so far, is that he's a great leader. He's humble. He's got a lot of charisma, and also I think somebody that is a unbelievable competitor. If you look at those qualities and compare them to Kyler, they have a lot of the same things there, a lot of the same positive qualities. And so I think what you're looking at is, we probably need a little bit.
Messi, you do understand that the season that Dak finished last, that was the most he had. And then he only had one other season that was a bad. All right, so Dak Prescott in his 9 years, Messi, has had 2 seasons that were high turnover rate. In one of those seasons, he hadn't only played like 6, 7 games. 10 sacks. 10 interceptions in a season ain't bad. These quarterbacks did phenomenal this year, getting only like 4 and 5. That's not the norm. What up, ASU? What it do? What it do? The norm is probably 10 to 12 sacks a season. Not sacks, interceptions.
Be a little bit further down the road before I decide exactly, how you feel about a guy's physical qualities.
Speaking of Kyler, his thought process.
But Dan Marino was considered one of the best passers of the football. He just couldn't get the job done.
His running ability was part of the success of your running game. You need a mobile quarterback like that to make your running game go. And where's Dak here? At this point of his career, running much better.
That's an interesting question. I think that it certainly can help you.
Stats only matter when you're trying to prove a point. But the problem with that is you can manipulate stats to prove almost any point and push almost any narrative. Um, so stats can go good and they can go bad.
When you have the ability, because if you are reading a run, essentially,
That's why at the end of the day, I watch the football game and I give the eye test, and then I go back and I'll watch some of the all 22 and see if I was correct in my initial assertion, what I said during the game, or if I was wrong. And sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right. It goes both ways.
you're taking a digit off the board on defense. But I think if you were to look at what we did over the course of the past 2 years, probably 70% of it was under center stuff that was going to be handed off. But yeah, and I think anytime you have the ability back there to read with that guy, it's a bonus for you. In regards to how often you need to do it, I think that the necessity for that really shows up when you're looking at like really low tight red zone plays, or a gotta have it game on the line type thing. And I think that most quarterbacks end up in that position at some point. If there's someone athletic, you got to be kind of picky and choosy about when you're doing it.
Bobby Belt from
What do you want
105
your
to the
offensive lineman?
The same thing that I want from every player on offense, and that is to create violence in the game, be aggressive.
He wants his offense to create violence. What up, Wicked? What it do? What it do? Man, he wants the offense to create violence. Is what he just said. I'm about positive. That's what I just heard. I'm gonna.
What do you want your offensive lineman?
The same thing that I want from every player on offense, and that is to create violence in the game. Be aggressive.
Well, he wants them to create it anyways.
I think
Be aggressive, run, and hit. Don't wait for the play to come to you. Go make the play. What up, Walt? What it do? What it do?
What is going to what is going to allow these guys to play more free and run and hit and be violent?
Bobby Belt from 105 to the fan. In regards to the offensive line, what's your thought on cross training guys across position versus just having them focus on the spot?
But again, Noah, you can go on Noah Messi. You can go on PFF and you can push stats to fit any narrative. There's too many stats at this point. We need to go back into the league when football was football and they didn't record every single thing as a stat. Just watch the game, see how they play, and if you pay attention to how they perform, you get a good grasp of how it went.
But I think that in the NFL, you have to do that. I also think that if you are a starter at a spot and you're a premium player at a spot, you're probably not going to play a whole bunch of different other positions. That obviously there's a exception to every rule. But my general thought on it is, if you're not one of those starting five, you better be able to play as many spots as possible, and that's probably the plight of being a sixth or seventh guy in this league, is that you're not going to get super comfortable at one spot, but that's what's best for the team.
Who grades off a normal? Those websites grade, and the media grades. You don't never hear the football teams come out in their interviews and be like, "We graded bad on this play because of these stats." That don't happen. The only people that take and use the stats are fans, the media, and the websites that creates them. Only some of the stats really matter.
That's right.
What up, Milo? What up, El Cracker? What it do? What it do? You the real El Cracker from Jacksonville? He was locked up. That's dope, Milo. Congratulations.
100%. Yeah, and I think that there's I'll have friends outside of the business that'll ask me some of these questions, like, what do you guys do this time of year? You guys' families are in other cities, and the answer to that is that's what we're doing right now. Is we're sitting in a room together for long periods of time throughout the day, and figuring each other out a little bit. There's some laughing, there's some fun, there's also plenty of sometimes you gotta talk through something that there's a disagreement on. And we're all living in a hotel, so there's you spend a lot of time together and you really get to know each other, and that's that's part of the fun of this business, in my opinion, is it's that, you still get a little bit more
R.I.P. Fulio.
type feel on a coaching staff that you do probably working
But
with
I like Ace too. I like Ace too.
Why do you think in your career that you've gotten to this point? Like, what do you think has really helped you to elevate yourself to where you're in the position you are right now?
I mean, I think first and foremost,
I rode the fence. And actually, I broke down Fulio's murder on this channel a while back. It's one of my I think I actually took the video off of public rotation. Made it a private video a couple weeks ago because it doesn't relate with what the channel is. But I had to break it down.
Help you grow and help you improve at the things that you're not good at.
Who are the offensive line coaches that influenced you? Who are your mentors and guys that you learned from and took the most from?
Chris Strasser was a guy that I played for at Boise State, and then also I was his assistant in Indianapolis, and then I was the tight end coach when he was the offensive line coach in Indianapolis. So he's a guy that I spent a ton of time around. I was also fortunate toward the end of my career when I went to Indianapolis. Howard Mudd had come back.
No, Carnage. What I broke down. All right, we're gonna get off subject here for a second. What I broke down was the route that the car took, because so many people, if you were watching any of the videos that were coming out, people were talking crazy about the route of the car, the way the car took, like how it happened from the time he got to the hotel to where he ended up. And if you go back on the date on my breakdown film of the route, I did a lot of Google imaging and like scouting out that whole hotel, and I ended up actually finding the correct route, and I actually found an escape route that he could have made. One day I'll make this video public again and you guys can go watch it. But if you look at the date versus the day that was actually confirmed, I had it right.
As a senior analyst, and we only got to spend about 6 months together, but shoot, man, there's things that I think about every single day that, like, Howard said this and that was right, or I wonder what Howard would say now.
Clayton, obviously you guys have to settle up on the offensive line as far as personnel is going to be where, and you got to figure out the running back position. But just talk about the benefit of coming into a situation where you have Dak, CD, Jake Ferguson, impact players at three of the more important positions on offense already set.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about.
I know he was set up, but I was breaking down like from the arrival at the hotel, like what happened, how I thought it went, based on what the evidence that they gave us, the position of where the car was, and the route we knew he came into, based on where the original taped off exit was from the original shots that were fired before, where the last shots were fired at where his final spot was. But he was definitely set up. That's 100% right. But it was a very sloppy setup. And that's why they're all locked up.
Probably even goes a little bit further than that for guys that you feel like are established and have chances to be premium players.
Yeah, I have not dug into that. I know that XX was always talking about that in interviews, but I didn't I listened to some of X's music, but I didn't get into a lot of his interviews and stuff like that until afterwards.
And I'm really excited about the opportunity to let it unfold and look at it and say, how do we put these guys in position, an advantageous position, as many times as we can within a game, and that's the challenge to me. And when you have good players, that's a little bit easier.
Sydney Staples, last one. Sports. How would you describe your coaching style? What makes you unique?
You ate a pizza.
I think
No, your brother did.
two things. Number one, I see myself as a teacher as much as anything else. I feel like.
Yeah, me too, Walt. Unfortunately.
And number two, I try to.
But I gotta make the money because this doesn't pay me anything. So I think this channel finally is about to actually make $100 for the first time. Between all of the donations over the time and the little bit of ad revenue that it's built, it literally is only built like $5.50 in ad revenue. Most of it's been donations. And then we do have one channel membership. Shout out to him. He actually joined the last stream and became a member. So the first person has already got a channel membership. And if he continues that, he'll be the first $2 of every month that goes towards the account. Also goes towards this helping get the new computer and going through the growth of this channel.
Field in the meeting room is controlled.
Exactly. Shout outs to Kevin.
I'm not going to have a lot of blowups, but it's going to be very focused beams of here's the problem, here's the solution, here's where we're going to try to get that done, rather than I'm not really a big.
What up, Himothy? What it do? What it do? Never. I've still seen more Super Bowls than the Eagles have. What? We'll get up there. Yep. Y'all left the lights on. LEDs in my background. Really? This is what you want? Yeah.
The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Especially this first time.
It's a good question. It's really the first time that I had worked for somebody that I was close friends with before. We were assistant coaches together in Indianapolis. And so we had a prior relationship that really transcended just being coworkers or in that situation, boss and employee. I think that,
What up, Didi?
One of the things that Jonathan does as good as anybody else.
Nemo won't be around for a little while, Didi. He'll be gone for a couple of weeks.
I was very impressed with the way that he did that, of just ensuring that everything that we do is going to be about helping these guys play good.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. You coach Kyler Murray in Arizona. Now you have Dak Prescott at a different stage of his career. What are your thoughts on going from the two different types of quarterbacks and just your impressions of Dak Prescott, the player?
You know, I think that it might be hard for me to answer that question until you have a larger sample size to pull from. What I know about Dak, just in the short experience that I have so far, is that he's a great leader. He's humble. He's got a lot of charisma, and also I think somebody that is a unbelievable competitor. If you look at those qualities and compare him to Kyler, they have a lot of the same things there. A lot of the same.
Well, he ain't lying. Hey, he is getting his tank cleaned. It's going to be about a 1 to 2 week cleaning process, or was it 2 to 3? It was either 1 to 2, maybe up to 3 weeks. That Nemo will not be in the chat. He messaged me and I guess others in the Discord, letting us know that he's got some things that he's dealing with, and it'll be a little while, but he'll be back. He won't dipset on us like Barkley did and just don't come back. What up, Miss Pittsburgh? What it do? What it do?
Positive qualities, and so I think what you're looking at is, we probably need to be a little bit further down the road before I decide exactly, how you feel about.
Blessed night.
His thought process, his running ability was part of the success of your running game. You be a mobile quarterback like that to make your running game go, and not, where's Dak? At this point, it was critical running as much as college.
That's an interesting question. I think that it certainly can help you when you have the ability, because if you are reading a run, essentially you're taking a digit off the board on defense. But I think if you were to look at, what we did over the course of the past 2 years, probably 70% of it was under center stuff that was going to be handed off. But yeah, and I think anytime you have the ability.
He says, no, we're not letting Dak run. We're going to hand it off. We're going to have a running game, but Dak won't be part of it.
Back there to read with that guy, it's a bonus for you. In regards to how often you need to do it, I think that, the necessity for that really shows up when you're looking at like really low, tight red zone plays, or a gotta have it game on the line type thing. And I think that most quarterbacks end up in that position at some point. If there's someone athletic, you got to be kind of picky and choosy about when you're doing it.
Love you about from
what do you
one
want
of
in your
five.
offensive lineman?
the same thing that I want from every player on offense, and that is to create violence in the game, be aggressive, run,
Cry,
hit.
baby, cry.
I think that every decision that we make schematically needs to lean that direction. So if there's gray area, what is going to allow these guys to play more free and run and hit and be violent?
Bobby Bell from 105 The Fan. In regards to the offensive line, what's your thought on cross training guys across position?
Yeah,
versus just
he's
having them
all
focus
right.
on one spot?
He's just dealing with some family
I
family
think that
things.
in the NFL you
I'm,
have to do
I'm
that.
sure he'll explain when he gets
I
back.
also
I'm gonna
think
let
that
him
if you are a
explain.
starter at
It's not my
a
place,
spot and
so
you're
I'll
a
let
premium
him.
player at a
I'll
spot,
let
you're
him
probably
explain
not
it.
going to play a whole bunch of different other positions. That obviously there's a exception to every rule. But my general thought on it is, if you're not one of those starting five, you better be able to play as many spots as possible, and that's probably the plight of being a sixth or seventh guy in this league, is that you're not going to get super comfortable at one spot, but that's what's best for the team.
Carnage, you're a fool, bro.
That's right. Yeah, I knew I recognized you.
You talk about establishing a relationship with players, but I know you have a relationship with some defensive coaches, but is it also establishing a relationship with the guys you're working now on offense?
I wish we could hear the interviewers a little
100%.
better. What up,
Yeah,
him?
and
What
I
it do?
think
What it
that
do, brother?
there's like
What's good? What's good?
I'll have some friends outside of the business that'll ask me some of these questions, like, what do you guys do this time of year? You guys' families are in other cities, and the answer to that is that's what we're doing right now. Is we're sitting in a room together for long periods of time throughout the day, and figuring each other out a little bit. There's some laughing, there's some fun, there's also plenty of, sometimes you gotta talk through something that there's a disagreement on, and we're all living in a hotel. So there's, you spend a lot of time together and you really get to know each other. And that's, that's part of the fun
Maybe
of this
not,
business, in
Didi.
my opinion, is it's, you still get a little bit more locker room type feel on a coaching staff than you do probably working in other jobs. And I really enjoy that part.
John Machota with The Athletic. Why do you think in your career that you've gotten to this point? Like, what do you think has really helped you?
No, I can't
to
say I
elevate
did,
yourself to
Didi.
where you're in the position you are right now?
I think first and foremost, you always have to say having good players, and those
he
players
said he'll be gone for 2 or
doing-
3 weeks.
trying to do everything that you ask them to
As
at a
far
really
as
high
Nemo.
level, and believing in you. So that's the other, one part of it. I think the other part of it is being fortunate enough to be around leaders that can help you grow and help you improve at the things that you're not good at.
Who are the offensive line coaches that influenced you? Who are your mentors and guys that you learned from and took the most from?
Chris Strasser was a guy that I played for at Boise State, and then also I was his assistant in Indianapolis. And then I was
Oh,
lieutenant
that's why
coach.
Dallas hired him. He's another Boise State player. What up, Sim? What it do? What it
I was
do?
also fortunate toward the end of my career when I went to Indianapolis. Howard Mudd had come back as a senior analyst, and we only got to spend about 6 months together. But shoot, man, there's things that I think about every single day that, like, Howard said this, and that was right, or I wonder what Howard would say now.
Clayton, obviously you guys have to settle up on the offensive line as far as personnel, who's going to be where, and you got to figure out the running back position. But just talk about the benefit of coming into a situation where you have Dak, CD, Jake Ferguson, impact players at three of the more important positions on offense already set.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about all three of those guys, and I think there's the list probably, I won't go into it, but I think the list probably even goes a little bit further than that for guys that you feel like are established and have chances to be premium players. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to
Philly?
let it unfold and look at it and say,
Philly
how do we put
600?
these
What it
guys
do?
in position?
What up, Zaire? What up, Philly? What up, Steve? What it do? What it do? No, yeah, all in was a bad choice of words by the Cowboys last year, but that's not the mantra this year. That ain't even what they're saying this year. And actually, in one of my previous videos, I have broke down what Jerry Jones meant when he said they were going.
As much as anything else, I feel like two of my biggest
What Jerry
passions
Jones
in life
meant
is
by
teaching
saying
players.
he was going all in. I broke that down as
Two,
well,
I
and I
try
think it was in a short
really,
though.
really try to think about.
But no, they did not go
regards to
all
how I
in because they
communicate
still
with
had
players,
28 million in
field,
cap in their pocket.
is
That's not ever going to be all in when you still got 28 million in your cap space. They could have used that to buy players or bring players in that could have helped, especially when we got started getting all the injuries.
controlled energy, and so I'm not going to have a lot of blowups. But it's going to be very focused beams of here's the problem, here's the solution, here's where we're going to try to get that done, rather than I'm not really a big blow up scream guy. But they got to feel the intensity.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Nice to have everybody be chill. It don't happen often. It don't happen often where we all can just chill and actually have a real conversation without somebody getting upset or arguing. All right, so we're gonna now play the Matt Eberflus. That Clayton Adams interview was a little longer than I thought. It was actually 16 minutes. This one's a little shorter. Don't play.
What did you learn from being a head coach and now coming back as a DC? Yeah, I think when you go through experiences, when I first became a coordinator at the Colts and then becoming the head coach of the Chicago Bears, I think you learn a lot, right? You want to learn and grow from every experience and impart that wisdom onto the next crew.
No,
and
still
that's
hasn't
what we're
popped
going to do
in
here.
tonight.
So it's you learn a bunch of things that are different and things that you grow from, and it's important to do that.
When you in your first stint, you
Oh,
had some
no.
weapons, obviously.
My son says that's Dory. All right.
Coming back,
Put it with
you
your
got a
toys.
Michael Parsons. So, like, how do you?
You know you're gonna put all those toys
from
away
your
because you ain't got
vantage point, how do
nowhere
you
to sit.
plan without giving too much weight to kind of
Don't get
utilize
no
his
more.
ability
No more.
to both play off ball but also rush the pass rush?
Yeah,
Where
Mike
are
is
you
a
gonna
proven
sit?
pass rusher. We're going to use it that way, certainly. And he's a heck of an athlete and do a lot of different things for us on defense. And when you have a guy like that, you want to be able to utilize his skill set. And as we're around him more, we'll be able to see what that skill set is and really take advantage of that.
You guys live in the reality.
What up, offside? What it do, brother? What it do?
How do you sort of pick yourself up mentally after what happened to sort of get back on the horse?
Yeah, I'm just grateful for the opportunity, really, just to work with this crew. I want to really thank the Jones family for bringing me on as a defensive coordinator and Brian Schottenheimer. Really excited
Yeah, I
about the
don't pay a whole lot of
opportunity to do
attention
that.
to college basketball.
And going forward, just really attacking this job and working with the players to have an attacking defense.
As a former D2 Sports, what entices
Wants
you
to
about
have-
coaching with the Dallas Cowboys?
Nemo! Nemo! Thought you weren't coming through. We were letting everybody know that you weren't gonna be here. You good, brother, you good. But yeah, man. Even Matt Eberflus talking about we gonna be attacking. It's gonna be a lot of focus on effort. I like hearing that. I want to see it be put in action, though.
Yeah, I was here 7 years before, so I know the family well. I know the community. I know the fan base, and it's exciting to be back. And that's what excites me the most: the fan base, the players that we get
I feel you. I feel you, Carnage.
to work
Carnage,
with,
the gatekeeper.
and working with the Jones family and Brian. So exciting.
As a former head coach, how do you help Brian? As a first-year head coach.
Yeah, and again, the first couple of meetings I had with him, I said, I'm here for you. I want to really just do a good job of bouncing ideas off of me, experiences that I had, and just working together, to be able to utilize me because I do have the experience of being a head coach for him and to make his job.
I mean, everybody has a moment here and there, Ryan, but not often. I'm pretty good at what I do, so it's hard. A lot of my job has a ton of repetitive things, so most of the time it's something I've done before, so it's hard to. Everything's like muscle memory almost.
Job easier.
How far was it for you to bring some of your guys from Chicago and Indy with you here?
Yeah, I wanted to really have just a clear view of when I did the interview process with Brian Schottenheimer to be able to look and see at the defensive staff. And we brought some guys here, but we got some new faces too. I always believe that having new ideas in your staff every single year is important to be able to do that.
Good.
And we're changing and adjusting our scheme every single year.
We'll will be changing and adjusting our scheme every single year. I want to hear about them changing and adjusting their scheme every single game.
It has to grow every single year to really be in front of the league, so to speak, but also to really utilize your skill sets of the players you have currently on your roster.
Getting back to Mike, how many conversations we
That's
had with him
crazy
already?
outside
Certainly
calling
this
out
is
your own
third-
fans.
This is coordinator, I think,
That's
was three,
crazy.
four times
Don't worry,
in
there's
the
a bunch
league.
of Cowboy
You know,
fans.
obviously different
called out
systems,
too.
and you know, have you impressed him on the importance of using him to the best of his ability and moving him around like he's done in the past, or what's the focus there?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, the name says it all. Carnage. They're in misery. They're not in Missouri. They're in misery.
Really can't talk.
So they have nothing better to do than to make everybody else feel like they're in misery. Because you know what they say: misery loves company.
Watch football at this time of year with the guys. Just kind of just talk with him more personally what he was doing. I think he was at Disney with his kids at the time, but he knows that we'll adjust and make him in the best light that he can be in. In terms of position, in terms of pass rush, and really utilizing what he does best. And that's rushing the passer.
Matt, did you do any after action from your time in Chicago of what happened, what were wrong from the
All right, offside, man. You have a blessed night, brother. Make it great on purpose.
between then and now when you got hired here?
Yeah, you always do that. I do that every single year, reflecting of what you could do better on everything, and it's important that you do that. You look at what we did well and what you could improve, and not only from last year, but even from the beginning. How you hired your initial staff. From A to Z, really from that. So it's always growing and improving every single year.
What do you think you learned in that couple months between?
Damn, these interviews went on longer than I was anticipating. Only planned on doing an hour and a half live stream, so we might go a little over that.
I just really relish the opportunity.
Carnage. What up, Billy? What it do? What it do?
That we had, and also what's in the future. And looking at what really can happen in the future, and what this team can be now that I'm with the Dallas Cowboys, and the vision we have for them, and really what they can be.
Steve, you're from misery? That sucks, bro. So, I was just making fun of the name of misery. I don't even know anybody other than you in misery. What up, McFlurry Broads? What it do? I need an Oreo McFlurry right now.
And that's what excites me the most.
What concept or philosophy would you say is like
Appreciate you, McFlurry. I ain't never seen you here before. Did you change your name?
the hallmark of the defensive philosophy that you have?
Yeah, pretty simple. We take the ball away. That's what we do. We stop the run, and we want to make exciting plays for our football team, and that's really what we do.
Carnage. He's got something about everybody. I got you, bro.
How did you get your?
What did your name used to be?
That kind of championship level where you can win the division again.
Yeah, that's really about getting the depth there that we need. I know that we've had some free agents leave us over the last couple of years, but they're really some good pieces that are there, to work from.
I got you, bro.
So it's exciting to be able to look at that in the future in terms of draft and acquiring other players that are at special talent guys, and we're excited to get that done.
I know it's only been a few weeks, but what's been your impression of Shotty as a head coach so far?
Just the enthusiasm, the buy-in that he has, the conviction, the energy that he brings to everybody every single day. So I'm excited about that.
You brought up stuff.
Talking about that. Brian Schottenheimer has everybody hyped up. The enthusiasm and the energy he brings, he's got everybody locked in. Let's hope this comes to fruition, and hopefully it pays dividends and gives us a better season than we had last year.
Been run, it's been a bugaboo around here for a long time.
I got you.
Definition of bugaboo.
It's been a problem. They haven't been able to get it done.
I got you, bro.
How do you get this team to finally stop the run? I mean,
yeah, it's just really about fundamentals. It's about fundamentals, playing your technique, and obviously the better players you have, the better they are. So it's important to have that too. But it's about guys being in the right spot and being where they're supposed to be, with the demeanor, that they need to have. So, we've had some good run defenses in the past here. When I was back with Marinelli, I know we had a few years where we were really good. So we're excited about getting that back.
More about the scheme.
Excited about getting the run defense back, something we've needed for 2.5 years now. What up, Jalen Season? What it do? What it do? Where you been, brother? Ain't seen you in like a couple weeks.
Or
Or
it's
like a
about the
week.
type of personality
Something like that.
that you need.
It's both. It's
Welcome
always
back,
both.
brother. Welcome back.
You know, you can run the same scheme with really good players and it works really well, and run the same scheme with other guys and it's not as good. But this is a player's game, so the talent level does matter. But I do believe we can be where you're supposed to be and have really good fundamentals to really help enhance the run game.
You brought up Marinella's game, and I know you have Mike on the edge, but how important you're in the middle, a defensive tackle in the middle to make this thing go?
Yeah, to have pieces along the line, I think is very important. And the more you have, the better. And you can see that with a couple people in our division. It's important that you have that. You know, the more dominant players, you can't just look and see, you know, and pick on a certain guy in terms of in the run or the pass protection. So it's good to have at least two guys, maybe three guys opposite each other.
In the time since you were last in Dallas, what would you say you've maybe changed the most? Is there anything that you believe differently now?
Just really changing, molding the scheme based on the players' skill sets. You know, based on what you have. You know, I really believe we have two really good corners here. I'm excited about working with those guys. Our safeties are really good players. You know, so we have some cool pieces in the back end.
See, now that I kind of disagree with. I think we had some struggle with the safeties last year. I think we had the safeties have a couple standout moments, but I really think that our safeties struggled a good bit. Malik Hooker and Damian Wilson, they definitely had some struggles.
So I'm excited to work with those guys.
But they were heavy hitters. They would come up and hit you.
Yeah, I
They
believe
just
the guys
wouldn't
we have
tackle
here
you.
are the two best in the league. You know, they really are. They're top notch, top five for sure. Excited to work with those guys. They got length. They have speed. They have really good coverage ability. It all starts with being able to play man coverage, I believe. Be able to match guys up and stay with your man, and then work our zones from there.
When you were here the first time,
Go ahead.
So it looks like he's going to be doing a lot of man coverage to start, and then working in some zones to see where people fall in at.
when you were here the first time, it was clearly on at least a defensive coordinator track. What's it like to be back in that role?
Yeah, I've always loved putting the game plans together, working with the players, calling the game. You know, on game day, that's always been something that I've loved to do. You know, going against the great offensive coordinators in this league, that's something that's fun for me, and our staff putting those game plans together. So I'm just excited about it.
Matt, in addition to the two corners that you mentioned and Mike, Stephen Jones last month said Mozzie Smith was someone that came up in your assessment of the defense. What are your plans for him to unlock his goal?
Yeah, I'm excited about Mozzie. I like him.
Here's where he gets asked about Mozzie Smith, and then goes on talking about how he actually this is a part of the clip. This is the clip that I did get to see. Another content creator had actually posted a reaction to this section of the interview. Come on, play.
Coming out, real explosive athlete, big body type that can move really well. So we're excited about bringing his game to the next level, and he can certainly do that.
Some coaches have kind of taken a little sabbatical.
It might be cool after all. No, I'm good. It's more fun when we don't get along.
Yeah, that's a good question. It was mainly my
we
wife.
all get along.
She wanted me
At the end of the day,
she wanted me to go to work.
along.
No, and I did too. I was excited about it.
It's
After a
nasty
couple
work.
of days, a couple of weeks after taking that break, and I was excited to get back on it. And had several phone calls from a bunch of different people, and I was excited about looking at different opportunities. And this was the best opportunity that I felt was really cool for me to come back to Dallas. I have a lot of familiar faces here, starting from the top all the way to everybody in the building. Cherish my time here in Dallas, and I'm excited about being back.
You talked about Cowboys radio with your previous relationship with.
What up, Jordan? What's good? What's good? Welcome in, welcome in. Hey, I'm glad that you're still thinking about Dallas, though. It's
Yeah,
all
for
right.
sure.
It's all right.
Will McClay
We know
has
you
done an
secretly
awesome
like
job here
Dallas.
acquiring talent with the Jones family, and
All Philly
excited to
fans
get back with him.
secretly like Dallas.
He knows
That's
what we're
why they
looking
always
for.
come over here.
But
and
again,
wanna
we're not
talk
taking
to
that
us Cowboy
for granted.
fans.
We want to get back together and making sure we've been gone. I've been gone 7 years now. So how has he enhanced? How have we enhanced in terms of looking at players in our scheme? And that's going to be a really fun
Come
challenge for
on,
him to
just in
him and I to get
different
on the same
form.
page again. And we're already started that process.
We're gonna finish with Clarence right here.
Where you
Damn
are in
Philly
the
fan.
process, and how much is retaining also key to what you guys want to do?
But what up, Jordan?
Yeah,
What's
you know,
good
I'm
with
not
you?
going to comment a bunch about the
Don't be
free
scared
agents,
off.
but
You can
certainly
hang
Osa is a
out.
guy that we like a lot, and he's a really good player for us. And but we'll look at other guys too. And
Your team has
but
choked
we're in the middle of
every
that
year
process right
except
now.
twice.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
At least my team has only not choked 5 times. At least we got 5 of them. You guys have only not choked twice. Anytime you don't get a Super Bowl, you choke. So technically, y'all have choked more than we have. In the end, if you won't get real with it, if you go Super Bowl or bust. Alright, no, we ain't doing no audacity.
The first time.
Today. No, this is
Cut number 1
105.3
on
The
blending
Fan.
his concepts with head coach Brian Schottenheimer.
Pause. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, those interviews are done. I wanted to listen to, there was one TMZ of,
What did you?
and hopefully they don't copyright me. Shout out. I don't own the rights to the audio that I'm going to play. TMZ does. And hopefully they don't copyright me. It's a really short clip. Win and loss stats are team stat, brother. This ain't tennis. It ain't about the quarterback. You listen to too many people that don't know what they're talking about that they blame it all on. Like, it's way more than just the quarterback. Dak and Romo don't equal 30 years, Philly Matt. Dak and Romo don't equal 30 years. You got 16 and 9. That's not 30. So there's other years where we had other quarterbacks. Drew Bledsoe didn't win. Tony Romo took over from him. We had a bunch that didn't win. Dak never learned from Romo, really. He was only with Romo his rookie season, which is the season Dak started. Like, Dak was only with Romo for that one rookie season. And actually, Dak talked about in his, before Dak became a Cowboy, before he got drafted by the Cowboys, he had been critiquing Tony Romo and talking about, but at the end of the day, they've got the same pretty much career stats. Yes, sir, Jalen. Yes, sir. Right, Carnage. This one is Platinum Blue Jack. Platinum Blue Jack. And playoff wins are a team stat, Philly. People want to push it on the quarterback, but we don't watch tennis. We watch football. It's a team sport. It takes the team to win. It's not all on Dak. But you can blame what you want. The owner's the problem. But hopefully we're getting away from that. I want to listen to this TMZ audio of Michael Irvin. Brian Schottenheimer needs an act of God to turn the Cowboys around, is what he said.
We gotta ask you, is Brian Schottenheimer gonna change the Cowboys franchise? They got the Mike McCarthy era is over.
Right, and the new era is here. Now, there are great odds against.
Abar Jordy, you must be new, because I've done said that 100 times.
Brian Schottenheimer turning around the Cowboys in a great way.
But now that the hire is made, what I do is buy in and try to find that hope. And then you start thinking on a deeper.
I'm not anybody that's going to ever stand behind and be like, Jerry's been a good GM. He's been a great owner, but he's been a bad GM.
Maybe God is doing something without leaving my eyes can't really consume. So maybe what he's doing now is taking the least likely to do the most greatest.
I love the
So then
optimism.
you'll know it was nothing but God. See, if he takes somebody great and then produce somebody great, you'll say the man did. But when he takes a Brian Schottenheimer,
the Commanders are ahead of the... They're not the Commanders. The Redskins are already ahead of the curve. Their rebuilding season started last year, so they have a year under their belt, and they performed well. So technically, that should be their bottom level if everything goes right. If not, who knows? All I know is the Commanders generally have 1 out of every 10 or so years that they're really good, and then they kind of fall back down. But technically, if you're asking, most of the people that I've heard say that this is going to be the worst year the Commanders are going to be, that they're only going to get better. So we'll see. We will see. What up, brother? But the Cowboys are starting. This is the start of their rebuild season. So we've got coaches. They got to get all on the same page, and then they got to get the players all on the same page. It's a process. How fast it'll move, I don't know. We'll see the start of the season. My prediction for the season won't be until preseason. Once preseason comes, then I'll make my prediction on the season. I mean, Philly is stacked. They brought over a bunch of talent. They're built to win. They're going to lose some pieces. They'll probably pick up new ones. But who knows? Who they get as an offensive coordinator, how well it gels. Will they make it back? I think the odds are in their favor, but I don't personally think they'll make it back. We also got to remember, the NFC East has not had a repeat champion in over 20 years. Not the Eagles, not the Redskins, not the Giants, not the Cowboys have been repeat NFC champions in over 20 years.
the least likely of them all. And then he gives.
I hear you, Jordan. Man, like I say, I try to stay down to earth and real about everything I'm going to say. I'm going to give my real opinion and how I feel. And generally, most times, I'm pretty close to on point. I mean, ain't nobody perfect, but I try to read things in multiple perspectives so that I can try to see where it's going to lie at the end of the day. Carnage always.
From that position, and he does something great, you yourself will say, that must have been God. You damn well know it. Shot. I'm giving y'all free service on the stop.
Is it time to move on?
Come on in, check out the lady.
Is it time to move on from that?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Wow, faith. The faith.
See, that's total haters.
That's false, Timothy. That is absolutely false. Multiple times in that 20 years, teams have been built very well, just like the Eagles.
Keep some spinning mess going. When you got all of these teams out here fighting for their very, very important position.
The Kansas City Chiefs were once upon a time the Cowboys. What up, Ant? What it do? Welcome, brother. I don't know, Jordan, because Mark McCarthy was not very good. I don't think Mike McCarthy. I think that maybe not Brian himself, but the group of coaches that we're bringing in are going to end up being better off than Mike McCarthy. Now, you got to understand, this year is going to be a learning curve. A lot of these coaches have not ever played or coached together. So they're going to be learning to figure out what works out of each of their systems to make work for the system that Brian's trying to put in place. But I feel like Brian Schottenheimer could possibly be better than Mike McCarthy in the end. But that's just my hot take on that moment. I'm not a Mike McCarthy fan, though. I didn't want Mike McCarthy to be our coach to begin with, and I damn sure wanted him fired after that Green Bay game. No. That was a decoy. Every team, that was a decoy. What up, Jeff? What it do? We're just talking football, Cowboys. That was just a decoy. Every team has internal conversations on whether they should trade, sign, or extend or whatever their star players. Now, what doesn't happen with every team is that doesn't get leaked out into the media. But the point is with the Cowboys, why would they do that? And when did they do that? That came out just before the Super Bowl. What do the Cowboys like to do? They like to create storylines to put in the media to make their name be relevant during the largest event in America, which is the Super Bowl. And that's what they did. Now, had a team bought and gave like a king's ransom, maybe they would have done something, but they weren't going to just trade him. It was more of like, let's just throw this out there and see what sticks. And if a team comes in and is like, yeah, we'll give you this, this, and this, an offer that you can't refuse, then maybe at that point they may have traded him. But I don't think that the actual thought in that interview getting leaked was in fact for him to get traded. It was a decoy, in my opinion. But I could be wrong. But that's my opinion. Knowing how the Cowboys operate, they want to turn everything into a story. To me, that's what happened. But every team has those talks about their star players. Just they don't get leaked to the media. What up, Easton? What it do? What it do? Kelsey probably should retire. That wouldn't happen. They wouldn't trade him for that. They're not going to trade him for probably less than 2 ones and a player. What up, Dougie? What it do? What it do? But like I said, it was a decoy. It wasn't ever with the intentions to actually trade Micah Parsons. That wasn't the intentions. The intentions are to keep Micah Parsons. But had somebody offered some enormous king's ransom, then maybe the idea could have came to fruition. Don't know if it would have actually happened, because Micah's a piece that you build around. Even with two. All right, so had we traded Micah Parsons, think about this. Had we traded Micah Parsons, what kind of team would have been wanting to make that trade? It would have probably been a team that was trying to get a piece to win the Super Bowl or be in contention. So therefore, had he gotten 2 number 1 picks, it's likely that those 2 number 1 picks are at the end of the draft. So you're almost getting a second round pick anyways. So at that point, are you going to get a Micah Parsons like talent at the very end of the first round of the draft? Probably not. And then that other player had their, it depends on what the offer was. But that's how I processed that thought. Yeah, Miles, they need defense over there in Washington, but I don't know where he's going, Jordan. I hope he doesn't go there. What up, Alyssa? What it do? What it do? Man, Messi, you understand that Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys for him to have a hobby? That's all it was. He wanted to be a coach, and that's why he's ran this team the way it has. But he's starting to see, I'm hoping that this is not a proper way to do it. We ain't winning shit. And we're not going to win shit if we continue down this path. Changes in the organization need to happen. And it sounds like they're trying to make these changes this year. We'll see. I'm not fully bought in. I'm not fully 100 in believing that these are going to be full-on changes until I don't see them resort back to their old ways. Because right now they're still on the path of change. But if they resort back to their old ways, to the path of we're not going to do nothing in free agency, we're going to just draft and hope that these people, everybody in the draft can play as day one, then it shit's out the window. It's out the window. I'm still a Cowboy fan, but I'm going to have the same prediction as last year if that happens. What up, Mr. Hockey Up North? What it do? What it do? What do you think? I think Travis Hunter is going to be a cornerback. I know he wants to play both, but most NFL teams are scouting him as a cornerback in the league right now. Welcome in, Alyssa. All right, I'm going to play the rest of this clip. There's about a minute, less than a minute left. No, what pick? Oh, what pick do I think? Do I think he's going to be? Probably 2 or 3. Probably 2 or 3. I know that the board I'm looking at right here has him going number 1, but probably 2 or 3.
Last year when it was nothing, talk about this time. Stop. I only have so much brain equity. Can't put it on dumb shit. Dumb shit.
All right, yeah, that interview is
Put it on focus on work, focus on family. Leave some the hell on. Put it on dumb shit. Hey, Miles Garrett.
What up, Dom? What up, Bradley?
Miles Garrett. They need to trade for Miles Garrett. Michael, why are the Eagles going to win on Sunday?
All right, come on now. Let's not time out nobody. We don't need no timeout. Come on, Alyssa. That was the first timeout of the stream. We're 97 minutes in. What up, HR Creeper? What it do? What it do? What's good? What's good? Nice har. What's har? Nice hat. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, so all right, we ain't gonna watch that. So even though we're already past the time limit for the day, I'm gonna read. We'll probably do this Saturday. Oh, not much, brother, not much. We were just listening in and reacting to the interview of 3 of the new Cowboy coaches. It was Nick Sorensen, Clayton Adams, and Matt Eberflus. Hopefully y'all like that type of content that I did today. I know it's a little different than I normally do, but I'm also gonna Saturday on Roll. We might do it Thursday. We might do another episode of this channel, this show, the Ryals Cowboys Talk on Thursday. We'll have 3 of them this week. I'll do a Thursday and a Saturday one. So Thursday at about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'll be live again. And we'll do, because I wanted to go over some of these draft prospects. I wanted to go down the list. I have the top 200 draft prospects. So I've got a couple rounds worth of draft picks here that we can go through and we can talk about. I appreciate that, Miss HR Creeper. I appreciate that.
Michael Irvin is not happy with the Cowboys' new coach.
All right. We know he's not because he wanted Deion Sanders. But yeah, Thursday, what we're going to do is we're going to go through these draft prospects, and we may also listen to what Mel Kiper or one of them have to say about some of these draft prospects. So I'll just go through the first 10 of them here tonight. But after that, we'll save this for mostly Thursday. So, all right. So this PPF top or NFL draft big board is PFF top 200 draft picks. They got number 1 being wide receiver / cornerback, which, like I said, most teams are looking at him as a cornerback. Travis Hunter from Colorado. It says Hunter is a rare football player who has the talent and experience to start at wide receiver and cornerback. I believe his best usage in the NFL will also be as a full-time cornerback, with the some snaps at receiver every week to maximize everything he brings to the table. That package is worthy of a number 1 overall pick. Your Heisman trait. Heisman. I appreciate that. Definitely. Definitely appreciate the sub, brother. And then so number 2, my favorite player in the draft, even though I don't like Penn State, would happen to be the edge rusher Abdul Carter out of Penn State being number 2. Scouting summary coming soon, they say here. What we do know about him without their summary is that he has been classified as a mini Micah Parsons, all the way down to the fact that he plays at the same school and wears the same number. And Micah Parsons has kind of, not 100%, has kind of stamped that he's a mini Micah Parsons, and has called for the Cowboys to trade up and try to get him, which we all know that won't happen. What up, Jeff? What it do, what it do? Your name's Jeff too, Carnage? Hopefully the Cowboys have a better season. Right, Creeper. I'm thinking that we'll definitely be better. I think we'll definitely be better than last season. Which shouldn't be hard to do. But what I think next season's really gonna do for us, like I said, I haven't seen free agency or anything like that yet, so that's gonna be very dependent on what we do in the free agency and draft. But I think with what the emphasis is and what the message is that's coming out of the building, which is culture and culture and effort. And I think that we're going to be building a lot in the running game. I think this is going to be a season that's going to give us a lot of hope for the next seasons to follow it. Will this be a season that we make the playoffs? I don't know. But I think that what we see our team transforming into throughout as this now weeks 1 through 6, like I really feel like that's going to be the figure it out stage for the Cowboys. And then after that, I think we're going to start seeing what the Cowboys are going to start really looking like, because they're going to be trying to get the gel together, trying to get the chemistry together, and trying to play with and for each other instead of just trying to figure it out. So I think after week 6, we should start to see some of the continuity between the team, and we should get to see that what our team is going to start to look like going forward from that moment. Like I said, will that get us in the playoffs? I don't know, but I think it's going to give us a lot of hope for the seasons to follow, especially if we can have not so many free agents next year. We can retain a lot of our players, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I know I call him Jeff. It sounds like Jeff, but it's J. I call him JF. And then my nose is always stuffed up half the time, so it just sounds like it comes out Jeff. What up, Tommy? Yeah, man. It ain't nothing but a thing, brother. You can hate all you want. I bet you're an Eagles fan, huh? I bet you're an Eagles fan. Always coming over here. You guys just think about Dallas so much. It's okay, though. It's okay. We'll accept you. Come on. But all right, number 3, they got wide receiver Tatario McMillan. I know I butchered his name, from Arizona. One of the best wide receiver probably in the draft. I would love to have him opposing CeeDee Lamb. He is a beast. I think he's like 6'3" or 6'4", 210 pounds or something like that. That boy is a beast, and his catch radius is impeccable. But it's what it says here. It says McMillan has an all-pro potential because of his length and athleticism and the football intelligence. He's a smooth criminal of a receiver who was focal point of Arizona's offense. He is a unique talent who deserves to be considered a top 10 draft pick in the 2025 draft. I don't know if anybody's seen the little shorts that have come out of Tet. Like, Tet's a beast. Tet is absolutely a beast. I was kind of hoping we'd get Luther Burden, because I know we're not getting Tet. I think Tet will be completely gone by that point. That's what's up, Creeper. That's what's up, brother. Well, I appreciate everybody that comes in, tunes in, checks it out. What up, JRC? What it do? What it do? Is he 6'5"? I knew he was tall. I couldn't remember his real height. It doesn't have it listed here for me, but I knew he was tall. I don't know. I don't know if he's a Cowboy fan or not. But who they have number 5 is halfback Ashton Genty from Boise State. So according to this, he will not make it to the top 12. But I think that this is mostly just ranking the best players on the board. So we know that Tennessee's going to come up and grab a running quarterback because they're probably going to grab Will, whatever his name is. Come on now. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. It's trying to see if I can find it in here. They got him down. Down. Cameron Ward. That's what it is. But yeah, so we'll get in here now. Number 5 being Ashton Genty. What does it say? Oh, we skipped number 4. My bad. Number 4 is defensive interior, and it is Mason Graham out of Michigan. That boy is a dog. That boy's straight dog, bro. They ride him with Levis. That'd be crazy. Yeah, I mean, I say JF, but a lot of times I say it quick and my nose is all stuck, and it sounds like Jeff. Jeff. It sounds weird. I think we have an opportunity to get him, but we'll have to see. So yeah, it has Mason Graham being number 4 that I skipped over on accident. They don't have a scouting report here for him, which is kind of crazy because he's easily the best defensive interior player in the college divisions throughout all of them. I would love to have Mason Graham on the defensive interior for the Cowboys. We need someone like him, really, but we know he ain't going to fall to the Cowboys. They got number 5, Ashton Genty from Boise State. Genty is a total package backfield playmaker with an impressive balance, footwork, vision, explosiveness, big playability, reminisces of Alvin Kamara. He is a first-round offensive weapon who can succeed behind any blocking scheme. See, that's the reason mainly why I would like to take Ashton Genty is because I feel like he can cover up for the O-line not being as good as they need to be. Whereas if we were to go get one of these running backs out of the 2nd or 3rd round, they more or less need a better O-line than Ashton Genty will. Ashton Genty can make up for not having as good of an O-line, where these other running backs will need a good O-line to thrive. Now, they will be serviceable, solid backs, I'm sure. What up, Jeff Lee? What up, Sarah? What it do? It'll be Thursday. Creeper, when I'm going to go through a lot more of this list, and I'm sure we'll have some other things to talk about as the days go on. But yeah, Thursday. So Wednesday, I'll be off. It's the only day that I won't be streaming this week. So Thursday, I'll be streaming. Mondays and Fridays, I do WWE. Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. And if there's a pay-per-view, usually that's a Saturday. But I have Royal Rawls Cowboys Talk Tuesday and Saturday. This week, I'll be doing a Thursday episode talking about draft, the big board here, the 200 players, going through some players and giving my opinion on what we've seen scouting and what I thought of these players. And I'll go through some of the notes that I have on some of them. I haven't gone through all 200 of these players, but hey, maybe not. I do think that Barkley had a big impact on that, but all right, so we'll get to number 6, cornerback Will Johnson. Again, they don't have a scouting report, but from what I understand is that I haven't really scouted anything from this player. He is from Michigan, but he is the other content creators that I have watched. They do scout players, he's definitely their top cornerback. He has pretty good ball skills, as I believe he had, 6 interceptions? Not this past year, but I think it was the year before. But and then he's very lengthy and athletic, and then he's just good at attacking the ball. And then they got a safety here, Malachi Starks. I honestly have no idea about him. He's a Georgia Bulldog player. They don't have a scouting summary. I haven't scouted any safeties yet, so I will have to still be looking into doing my work on some more of these players. Tackle Will Campbell from LSU. I know he's a dog. We could use him, but I know the Cowboys won't go after another tackle. We just drafted one first round last year, so I know that won't be a way we go. And then number 9, they got Ed James Pierce. Or not Ed James Pierce. They got James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. He's an edge rusher, and he is a dog. He's also someone I haven't scouted. I've only done some wide receivers, tight ends. I almost have to break my book out. I don't even know where my book is because I haven't scouted players all like a week and a half, so I've gotten behind. What up, Bay Area? What it do? Penn State Mafia. I hear you. I can't say necessarily that I do. And before I started wanting to get a wide receiver in the free agency, the person who I wanted the Cowboys to pick, before I kind of switched to Ashton Genty, was this number 10 player. It's wide receiver Luther Burden, the third out of Missouri. I just think that he could play on the outside, and I think he could play in the slot in the NFL. I think that he is someone that could be a very good weapon opposing CD. I think that he would be very beneficial for our offense. What they have here is Burden is an ideal 5 tool, multi-sport athlete for the receiver position in the NFL. The first round talent is as well-rounded as they come, with the ability to succeed anywhere on the receiver tree, any spot in the offense. So that is the top 10 players that they have on this board, that's ranked on this big board. Like I said, Thursday we'll be going through a lot more of these, and tomorrow I'll be trying to do some more of my work, trying to watch some tape on these players so that I can have some more breakdowns of my own opinions on them, as well as what they have here listed, if they have it listed. Because some of the players, they don't have anything listed for scouting summary. It looks like they have maybe 50%, maybe 60% listed scouting summaries here to read through. But yeah, we'll definitely be getting into more of this. Hopefully you guys liked this content. I know it's a little different than what I normally do because I wasn't as active keeping up with the chat. Let me know if you guys do like this kind of content where I play videos and react to them and go through some other content to come across and give my opinion on. So yeah, just make sure y'all let me know if y'all like this kind of content or not. If not, then we won't continue to go through with it. But I feel like that it adds a little more, and it brings a little more, especially in this off season, that where we can kind of break down some different things, and you guys can get my perspective as well as I get y'all's perspective on some of these players and some of these coaches that are coming out in the NFL. And if there is any other thoughts on any player, y'all make sure to put them in the Discord. Let me know if there's somebody that you guys want me to scout and give you guys my opinion of in the Discord, because well, that's what I'm saying. We can recommend other players that I can give you my opinion of, but you have to list them in the Discord who you guys would want me to go watch film on, so that I can give my breakdown on what I think of that player. I appreciate you though, Messi. But yeah, we are going to end the stream here tonight. We have almost eclipsed 2 hours. It's been great. It's been fun. Hopefully, y'all have a blessed night. Y'all stay great on purpose. And, man, treat everybody right because you never know what anybody's going through. I'm Ryals, and we are out.